Welcome to Nonstop. It's the official and season show of Kirk, Herbstreit, and Joey Galloway. Your first stop for all things football, college and pro, every Monday.
All right, Joey, December 1st. Cannot believe that we're here already. Seems like we were just getting ready for August 30th, week one, and now here we are at Conference Championship weekend. Hope you had a great weekend, bud. A lot going on with football and a lot going on with, I'm sure, your boys. Are they done with their season, by the way?
Yeah, we're on to basketball season now. We got back, coached 2 basketball games yesterday for my youngest.
How's he doing?
He's good. He, you know, it is. You got 2 older brothers you get to compete with, so he's a competitor and pretty good basketball team. So yeah, we're right in the middle of it.
All the teams,
man.
Is there a team they played on you've not coached?
Let's see. I don't help with the high school baseball team, which my oldest is on.
Okay.
My plan, honestly, I didn't plan on coaching, but you've been through it. You've seen how youth coaching is. I realized that people are too serious at a young age.
Oh yeah.
And so I started coaching. We don't do any travel stuff. It's all local. It is, you know, I don't have designs on how do I get my kids into the NFL or the NBA or the Major League Baseball. We play, we have fun, we compete, and we go home. And
are they cool with that?
Yeah, they're good with that. Now I can push them in a different way. You know what I mean? I push them to compete, but not this travel stuff that
crazy.
It's nuts.
So, it's hard not to get part. It's hard not to like, is that guy serious right now? You know what I mean? Like, okay. Oh, we're doing that. Oh, we're doing that. Okay. Hold on. All right, kids. Hey, huddle up. It's hard not to go there.
It is. I've told many coaches across the field, hey, this is youth sports. Let's make sure everyone's having a good time and competing hard, and let's move on.
We're here for the ring. We're here for the ring for the weekend tournament.
Yeah, it's tough out here.
Off to get it. We'll get in the ring.
Yeah. And you experience it on social media. Like, you say something and then it's like, you hate us. You got. I was funsies. I was looking at the comments before we came on, and we didn't even start yet, and we're already getting the SEC. You guys love the SEC, and you guys, you guys suck. You suck.
Okay, good. Well, last weekend, before we get to why we suck, last weekend, starting on really Friday, some NFL games on Thursday, NFL game on Friday, but college football-wise, a lot of fun to be able to watch. Texas back home, ended up, rivalry game. It just seemed like, Trey Wisner had 155 yards. The Horns took care of business in a much heated rivalry. Love that game every year. It was on a Black Friday this year, but that was a kudos to Sark and to Arch and that whole team. Pete Kwiatkowski, the defense coordinator, had a great plan for Marcel, executed it. So number 3 went down on Friday. You had Georgia playing a really, really kind of like typical, like late November, early December rivalry game. Was kind of ugly, but it just shows Georgia can win a shootout. Georgia can win a low-scoring defensive game. That's I think, especially with some of these injuries that are stacking up for them. So that was cool. And then there's the Ole Miss. I think the big one with Ole Miss. Everybody wondered with all the distractions of Lane Kiffin, is he going to go? Is he going to stay? What's going to happen? If there was ever a time for a team to be distracted and especially be set up for a upset, it was going on the road to Starkville in a game that really would test their maturity. And I thought the players did an amazing job of just kind of blocking everything out. Lane did a good job. They were locked in, really dominated that game from the beginning, jumped up on them pretty early. But any of those games, anything stick out to you on that Friday? And I know Arizona, by the way, finished off a 9-3 year for the Wildcats. Brent Brennan, congratulations. Noah Fafita, one of the top quarterbacks in the country. So they go 9-3, knocking off Arizona State. But anything on that Friday, on that Black Friday, jump out to you, Joe?
There were some really good games. And this would probably be the first year that I wish the playoff was expanded. I wish that we could get a Miami, a Texas, a Vandy, because those teams are playing really good football right now. And there aren't many years where we got to the end and you're like, hey, there's more teams
I
that would
agree.
really compete in this thing. But Texas is playing its best football right now. Texas looks like the Texas we expected to see.
Totally.
Unfortunately, they lost to Florida. So it's probably going to be blocking their chance to get in.
Yes.
Vandy is playing really good football right now. What a fun story
I wouldn't
to
want to
watch.
play Vandy. They might be the most complete team, best coach team in the college
football. They look really good right now. Miami is back to the Miami we saw for the first 3 or 4 games of the season. They look really good. And it's unfortunate that there's only 12. And that's going to stop some of these really good football teams from getting in. And they have an argument, because at this stage, you look at, say, Texas, their resume and what they've done and the teams they beat. Hey, look, I get it. They look like a playoff team. Vandy looks like a playoff team. Miami looks like a playoff team. Those couple tough losses during a season, and if you're Miami, it was the fact that you lost 2 in a 3-week span to unranked teams. And what do you do with that? But now they come back, they look good. It's going to be interesting to me to see, can BYU be more competitive in the Big 12 championship game than they were when they played Texas Tech straight up? Because when you look at, if you look across it, Ohio State, Indiana, they're getting in. They're just in. Georgia, Alabama, I'm guessing both are getting in. Because, barring a blowout, I don't know what would stop Alabama from also getting in. The Big 12 gets interesting because if BYU should knock off Texas Tech is getting in with their resume and what they've done.
Yes, that would give the Big 12 2.
That'll give the Big 12 2. And all the math that we've been doing all this time, when you got me down here counting, and you start writing down the teams, all of a sudden you realize you're at 14. And then you're like, no. We can only have 12. Someone has to go. Notre Dame is getting in. They look
I'll just say this.
Really good.
Joey, you're bringing up BYU because, it's hard to beat a team twice. What about Duke, who kind of backdoored their way in at 7-5 and with all the different tiebreakers? How Miami's not playing in the ACC championship. Wouldn't it be great if just the highest ranked, if there's tiebreakers, why don't we just go to the 2 highest ranked teams in whatever conference for this argument, the ACC? That way Miami's your best team. How are they not in the ACC championship? So that's got to be frustrating. But if
they'll only get
Duke
one, the ACC is only going to get one though.
But if Duke wins,
then Virginia's out.
Virginia is out, and Duke's not going by JMU out of the Sun Belt.
No.
And they're not going to go by Tulane in North Texas. The ACC, then their only hope is Miami as an at-large.
Do you not think that if Duke wins, because JMU was not ranked last week.
I think JMU's, we'll find out tomorrow night on your show. I think JMU's just knocking on the door. Duke is
interesting.
Duke's over there.
Interesting.
So if Duke wins, they're not in. So the ACC,
you think where's Duke?
Let me backtrack for people that get confused, because I get confused.
Yes.
You get the top 5 conference champions.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only AQ we have. So
yes.
If you have a Big 10 team that wins with Ohio State and Indiana, if you have an SEC team that wins with the SEC championship, if BYU, Texas Tech, we can all agree whoever wins those 3 games, they're in.
Absolutely. Okay?
The next assumption would be, well, the ACC champion is going to definitely be the 4th highest ranked conference champion, but it's 7-5, even though they're 6-2 in conference, or 5, whatever. What are they? 6-2 in conference play. If Duke wins and knocks Virginia out, Duke is they're with all you others. They're not ranked, even close to being ranked, and a win over Virginia is not going to help them. So if JMU were to win their conference championship game in the Sun Belt, and the winner, either one, in the American wins, you're going to get the American as the 4th team and the Sun Belt if JMU wins. So there's your 5 automatic qualifier conference champions.
Yes.
Nothing there about the ACC. So you're left as an ACC fan to hope that Miami, with the remaining 7 spots, gets in to the conference championship. And then what would that do to the Big Ten and SEC's allotment if you have that scenario? I think Alabama could be in jeopardy because there's only so many spots that you have to go. So if you throw in, this is tough with this graphic, but if you throw in right now the 2 group of 5s, a Big 12, an SEC, and a Big 10 champion, that's 5 teams right there. And then if you go, again, with our argument, BYU beating Texas Tech would still go in. There's 6. Ohio State, Indiana, whoever you'd say wins that, the loser is in, along with Oregon. So that's 2 more spots. Now you're at 8. And now you debate that's 8 teams. You got 4 teams left under this scenario. Who are these 4 teams going to be?
So are you saying that Alabama is on the brink of
saying if you have ultimate chaos this week and the winner of the Tulane North Texas game is in, that's a lock. If JMU wins, and again, this is all based on Duke winning the ACC.
Based on Duke winning, yes.
So you Duke would be knocked out. JMU, Tulane, North Texas winner, they would be in, and then you get your other 3 big, powerful conference champions in: Big 10, SEC, and Big 12.
Right.
So that gives you 5 right there. Then we agreed to Texas Tech, even if they lose to BYU, they're in.
Yes.
It gives you 6. The Big 10, the loser of the Big 10 championship game is in. That's 7. Oregon is in. That's 8. We haven't hit Notre Dame yet, by the way. That's 8 teams that are definitely in. Now you go to the SEC. We already put the champion in. Whoever loses that game, if Alabama loses, they're out under this scenario. Well, you're going to have, if Georgia beat them, that'd be 9. You going to take A&M out?
No, not at all.
That's 10.
But I don't think
you're
Alabama.
Take Ole Miss out?
No, they're in.
That's 11. Now you got Oklahoma, Alabama, Vanderbilt, Miami of Florida, and Utah for 1 spot. Notre Dame. You got to throw Notre Dame in there too.
Let me do my math here.
I'm just telling you. Let's just hope Virginia wins and the ACC gets a team. But that's chaotic. If Duke, by the way, that's not that far fetched. I haven't even looked at the spread yet. But
no, it's not that far fetched. Duke is a team that can beat anybody, and they've also proven
they can lose to anybody. Same with Virginia.
They can lose anybody. Mensah is a tremendous athlete at quarterback. He's really talented. And Duke can go either way. I do think Virginia wins that game, but it does get interesting.
3-point spread.
If
3-point spread.
If they do not. And so, as we've been talking all along here with the SEC, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're saying they could.
What? Again, this is if Duke wins. The ACC is out because you're going to have, if JMU wins, JMU and the American winner would be both in. The champions of those conferences would be in because they'd be part of the 5 highest ranked teams.
Yes.
You include the Big 12, the Big 10, and the SEC. Again, that gets you to 5 teams.
Yep.
We agreed that if BYU beats Texas Tech, they're still in. That's 6. We also agreed.
So what do you have for the Big 12? You're saying if
BYU wins.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So that's another one.
Duke wins. So that's 6 with Texas Tech. The Big 10 loser is in. That's 7. Oregon is in. That's 8. Now we have to debate if Georgia wins. That's 9. A&M 10. We haven't hit Notre Dame yet. Ole Miss is in. You would think even with Lane Kiffin, that's 11. So now you have 1 spot for Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Alabama, Vanderbilt, Texas, Miami, and Utah.
So basically, the committee is hoping that BYU loses.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Nobody's hoping for a Virginia and a Texas Tech win more than the committee.
Yeah.
If those two things happen, that takes basically 2 spots away from somebody.
And it's very, very interesting. The ACC has been an interesting conversation all along, and people have been a little bit out of sorts a little bit with the idea of the ACC getting left out of this playoff because of how it played out. Not because Miami doesn't look like a playoff team, but because they didn't play for their conference championship, it opens the door for their conference to get left out if Duke wins. Now, that's if Duke wins, and that's BYU has to knock off Texas Tech. Yeah. Possible, doesn't look likely.
No, but if, again, it's pretty simple. If Duke wins, the ACC is hoping for Miami as their only chance. Yes. Miami is their only chance, and that be at large because their champion will be left. If Duke wins, their champion is out.
Absolutely.
If JMU win, I'm assuming JMU is going to win.
Yeah, exactly. That's a lot. Assuming JMU wins, assuming that Duke would not be ranked above JMU. I don't know where
no chance.
I don't know where JMU's ranked. I don't know where JMU's not ranked.
I know, but in the AP, they've been knocking on the door, and that's usually a good indicator of teams that, have a shot of getting up there and being in the conversation. They're 19th. They were 20th last week in the AP poll.
Yeah, but the AP has typically, and honestly, I've been saying for weeks, I was surprised because in the last couple of weeks, between 20 and 25, we have had 1 week, 20, 21, 22, 24, and 25 lost. The next week, three of the teams in that 20 to 25 area lost again. And Tulane was the only team that was able to scratch and claw and find their way in. And I think they made it all the way to 24. I don't know that the group of 5 is getting much respect. Clearly not as much respect as the AP is giving them in the committee room, in that room.
Well, I think I will venture.
I'm saying that
to guarantee you, I'm going to guarantee you that I'm going to speculate that JMU.
No, stick with guarantee. I like guarantee.
All right, I'll guarantee that JMU is in the top 25 this week, like at 24, 25.
Okay,
would be my guess.
I think they should be.
They should be.
I'm with you. I've been asking that question all along here.
Yeah. I think the AP having them at 19, the coaches poll having them at 19, and that's pretty remarkable. We got so much to get into. We're lucky enough to have. Well, this is special. Ohio State had a massive game last week in Ann Arbor. Julian Sayin, the quarterback of the Ohio State Buckeyes, cool enough to hop on with us right now to kind of break that game down. Joey, I know you were dialed in, and everybody was dialed into that game. Julian, how are you, man? Appreciate you hopping on with us.
Doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. What Joey and I obviously watched the game. We were there. What an atmosphere, by the way. Couldn't have asked for much more than that. The build up, the hype, you've only been there for a couple of years, but you know what the nastiness of this thing and how it can go. What was your take? And just before the game even got started, just walking in, seeing the colors, you guys talk about it year round. Now it's a reality. You're the starting quarterback. What was that like, just kind of settling in to the scene and the magnitude of the moment?
Yeah, I think it was awesome. Just the atmosphere going out there, you're getting booed pregame warmups. It was a ton of fun. And, we were in our quarterback room yesterday watching the tape, and, there's the picture, like the film stopped and it was, Bo Jackson in their corner, and the two helmets colliding. And, I feel like it's just that iconic. It's the game, it's the rivalry. And it was just awesome to be a part of it. It's a childhood dream growing up to be a part of something special like that.
That's awesome. Is there one last thing, Julian, if there's a moment in the game where it felt like, okay, you kind of settled in, You're kind of starting to see what they're doing. Was there a moment when you kind of felt like, okay, we're gonna be okay here. We're gonna execute and kind of follow the plan. We got a shot here to do what we need to do.
Yeah, I think our whole thing, as an offense, is about battling adversity and just keep swinging. And second play of the game, adversity hits, had the turnover, and I think there was no panic on our sidelines. Our coaches were all very calm, and we knew our defense would go out and get a stop or force them to 3. So I think it was just having that mentality of just keep swinging and keep battling. And adversity is going to come, but we're gonna we'll be ready for it.
How helpful was it for you to be a part of last season, having it not being the man, but having a chance to watch it, be a part of it, see how it works, see how those guys got to the top, realizing that the next season, now it's your turn. How helpful was that to you to experience that from last season, now going into a Big Ten champ game and then playoff after that?
Yeah, I think it was really important just to be a part of that roster. Just see, there were so many veterans on that offense and, on the team in general, but, seeing guys like Emeka Ibuka and, Will Howard, guys who are pros and, prepare the right way and have the right mindset and, just go about their business in the right way. I think it was awesome to see, just me be able to learn from those guys and learn their leadership styles and learn how to be a veteran like those guys.
You being from California, growing up, what rivalry games would you watch? Like which rivalry games? Because we're from Ohio. Herb's from Ohio. I'm from Ohio. Herb was a Buckeye before he even came out. I was not quite with him on that. But as a young kid from California, what are some of the rivalries that you grew up watching that you're like, man, I can't wait to watch this game?
Yeah, I think, growing up, it was like you wake up and it's 9 a.m. on the West Coast and the game's starting. So, you're watching that one while you're eating breakfast, you're watching that game. Yeah. And then, obviously, I think just, that game and then the Iron Bowl and, USC, UCLA were probably those 3 that I was watching growing up. But, I think it's just kind of how the time slots worked out. You wake up at 9 a.m. and Ohio State's got 35 points on another Big Ten team, and you're just watching it.
That's a beautiful childhood.
Yeah.
Who were you a fan of? Were you a fan of anybody as a kid?
Growing up, I watched USC was they weren't great when I was growing up. I watched Sam Darnold a little bit, but growing up when Oregon was first in those playoffs. They were big. Marcus Mariota. West Coast, they were big, so I was hurt when they
That's
lost
cool.
the Ohio State championship. That was tough for me.
Yeah, it's amazing when we have you younger guys on, and to think you started with Sam Darnold. You know what I mean? Like, because when Herbie first asked the question, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, let me try to think of a couple guys.
Yeah. My first college football game I think ever was I went to the Coliseum, and it was Andrew Luck versus I think it was Matt Barkley.
Oh, that's a good.
Oh, my goodness.
08, 09.
I went to overtime.
Oh,
that is amazing. Hey, Julian. So earlier in the year on this show, Herbie tries to be hip. He tries to think back to his days, and we had a conversation. This is when 6'7", and somebody called him a glazer, and so we can't.
I don't know a glazer. I don't know that one.
We don't know. Is there something new? Is there any new slang out there that me and Herbie need to pay attention to so we can talk to you younger crowd?
I don't know if there's anything new. I think the glazer is like you're just you're feeding him too much. You're praising him too much. You're giving him too much compliment.
Too much love.
You're giving him too much love on something like that. Like he's good, but he's not. We're making it too big of a deal out of this.
Is that still in there? Is Cook?
That's still in there. Yeah,
is Cooked still in there?
Cooked or chalked? Yeah. Chalk's in there.
Yeah, Cooked is in there. Yeah.
Chalked is still in there. All right.
Yeah.
So nothing new. All right.
No, and I'm done. I've been done with 6'7", whatever the hell that thing is.
I think 6'7's kind of out the back door.
It's going out. It's going out now.
That's gone.
Yeah, it's out.
That's gone. How about the fact that you guys play in this game, the hype, the magnitude of this game, and now I know that people say, well, whoever wins, it doesn't matter, but it's still a conference championship, right? To me, every week matters, but they're just the outside noise. People say that whether you win, you lose, you're still probably a top 4 team. But this is you against Mendoza. This is Ohio State against Indiana. They're kind of the new school that's knocking off everybody. What's the kind of the vibe after the Michigan game and trying to turn the page and get ready for another hyped up game against IU?
Yeah, I mean, we're excited. We haven't won a Big Ten championship here since 2019 or 2020. 2020 was COVID season, right? So it's definitely important to us, and we're gonna be ready, and we're excited about the matchup. And Coach Day's been talking about nobody on this team has been to Indianapolis before, and he talks about the how important and how awesome and the atmosphere of that game is, and we're excited about the matchup and playing in that stadium.
How have you changed from Texas? First start, guessing a game was probably moving pretty quickly. All these reps, all these games. How different when you think about the Texas versus the Michigan game, as far as being in command of this offense, understanding your checks, where to go, the answers. Can you even put that into words after an entire year under your belt?
Yeah, I think just gaining more confidence each week. Just getting more comfortable within the offense. Knowing what I'm looking at. Knowing what expecting. What the defense is going to do, anticipating what they're going to do, and being able to react. I think just having the more reps you get at it, the better you're going to get at it. So I think just having those reps under my belt.
Have you had a chance at all to? Before this week, and obviously watching film and preparing for Indiana, have you had a chance at all to see them play at all and think about, because I think that we were all looking like, man, this is going to happen. This game, and everyone's looking forward to seeing you two play. Have you had a chance at all to see Indiana during this season? And what are your thoughts? What are the challenges in playing a team like Indiana?
Yeah, I haven't really seen them on TV too much, just because we've been, having our games. But on tape, we studied them when we were playing Illinois, because they had that game, and then we've seen them play Penn State on tape. But just they're a good defense, and they play extremely fast, and they're really well coached, and they know their assignments. So it's gonna be a tough matchup, and they're a really good team.
What's it like for you having guys on the outside that have just absolutely Tate, Smith, Ennis, for a quarterback? I mean, what is that like, just knowing I'm surrounded by playmakers that are going to make me look good in a lot of situations? Just give them a chance.
Yeah, we talk about one-on-one throws a lot here. I mean, if we get one-on-one, we like our matchup. We're gonna give them a chance, and they're gonna make the play. So I think just having that explosiveness on the outside, and then having the offensive line who can be physical and be nasty up front, and having running backs who run hard up the middle. I think it's a nice compliment, and I think it all kind of meshes well together.
One of the things that to me is really impressive, anytime a team wins a championship the year before and then comes back and is still as eager, as motivated. I mean, defensively, a new coordinator, 8 new starters. This defense looks as good, if not better, than last year. Offensively, you lose Will and all those playmakers in the backfield, and a lot of leadership, around. And here, a new coordinator, and yet here you guys come back even stronger a year later. Take us inside the locker room in the offseason about avoiding complacency and the hunger and desire after you climbed the top of the mountain a year ago to still have this team just locked in and never having kind of an up and down. It's the same team, seems like every single week, which is tough to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's a completely new team and fresh faces in that locker room. And, I think early in the offseason, might have been February, Caleb Downs and Sonny Styles, we had some national championship posters up in our weight room or something like that. And, they told Coach, hey, let's take those down. This is a new team. This is a fresh start for us. And, we haven't accomplished anything yet. So I think just having that hunger, and, Coach Mick does a great job in the off season of, keeping us hungry. And, we're still fighting to, become the best version of ourselves and chasing what we want to be.
What is your schedule like this week? I don't know why I don't make it down there more often to watch practice. What is you guys' schedule? Today is Monday. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing you leave for the game Friday. Is that
we're keeping it Friday like a normal away game. Monday is where we have no practice on Monday. It's a big tape day, so just get ahead on film and watch the tape and know what their top calls are, what their scheme is. And then Tuesday, Wednesday are the big practice days. We got to have great practices and physical practices on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then Thursday is kind of the polished day, and then Friday is the walkthrough, and we fly out after that.
I got to say that 10, the traditional white 10 on you, looked really clean. I mean, have you worn 10 your whole life? Is that just your number?
I actually wore 9 in high school, and my brother wore 9 when he was in college, and I was like, I gotta switch it up. I can't just be the same as him. So when I got here, 10 was available, and I ended up taking it. And I really like our away uniforms. I know
do too.
A lot of the fans like the scarlet, but I like the whites. The whites look good.
I'm a fan, always have been, and I know your generation, the gray or the black or the red, but there's something great about just especially classic, Ohio State, Michigan,
classic silver helmet, and then you got the white uniform.
Yeah,
you're talking Herbie's language right now.
You are. I'm going to help you,
really
Joey.
Talking his language.
Rex Kern, Art Schleicher, Troy Smith, and now Julian Sayin wore that number 10. So for Ohio State lore, that's a special number, and you're continuing to do such great things. So hey, man, thanks for hopping on with us. Good luck. Congrats. By the way, I know you're going to say the right thing. You invent Mendoza, the Heisman, all the noise. I know you're just going to execute the next play, but pretty surreal, I would think, in the first year as a starter to even be in that kind of conversation. It's got to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's an awesome honor just because, growing up, all my idols, won this award. Marcus Mariota growing up, it was huge for me. But, we're focused on winning this game, and, how can I put my team in the best position to win this game?
Amen, man. Congrats on a great season. Good luck to you Saturday.
Appreciate you coming on, man.
We'll see you Saturday, bud. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. See you, bud.
What a well buttoned up young man there. I mean, he is by the book. He's as well buttoned up as anybody you talk to.
I mean, we had Marcel Reed on from Texas A&M. He got off and we were like, well, I love that guy.
Yeah.
And the same thing here with Julian Sayin. What a class act. We talked about this Ohio State Michigan game. The fact that Ohio State their defense so impressive. Matt Patricia he's got to be the Broyles Award winner as the top assistant coach, I would think, in the year for the way that they played. I think they're giving up 8 points a game when it's all said and done at the end of 12 games. So remarkable job, Julian Sayin, Brian Hartline, the job that offense has been able to do, continue to be creative. They'll be tested. What a game. We'll talk, more throughout the week about Ohio State and Indiana. I was down at the Iron Bowl. What a special day for me to go from college game day in the morning in Ann Arbor, Ohio State, Michigan in the snow, and watch the first half from the sideline, be in the tunnel for the two teams taking the field, and then to fly down and be at the Iron Bowl in the same day. Really, really kind of, Joey, you've known me a long time. If you would have told me that was going to be a day in my life, I would be like, sign me up,
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Really, really special. Don't take any of that for granted. And the Iron Bowl lived up to it. It looked like Bama was out early to a big lead, but Ashton Daniels continued to just kind of make plays, kind of just fight, scratch, claw, had a chance there late till the Cam Coleman fumble. But I'm going to tell you, we'll talk here in a second about all these coaching changes. Alex Golich is now the new coach. Put Jordan Hare with a 5-6 team near the top of your list as far as atmospheres, as far as like a team that's starving, a fan base that's starving. That was unbelievable experience. And Bama didn't play a great game, but you knew they'd be challenged when they're favorite, everything to lose in that kind of game. That's the turnover that ended up deciding it late. They're driving down to the 20-yard line, but the fumble gave Alabama the victory. But yeah, I mean, that's a starving fan base. They get Alex Golich, wish them nothing but the best, hope they can get it going. But Bama survives and advances to the SEC championship. I know you watched that one as well.
Yep.
Kind of the epitome of what a rivalry game is really all about, that matchup.
Yeah, that was surprisingly good. 17-0. Felt like, this one is about to get away from Auburn. And then they find a way to make a couple plays. Ty Simpson was off 19 of 35, but makes the play, the throw for the go-ahead touchdown, the run to get a first down when it was 4th and 1, 4th and 2, and it just looked like he was going to get tackled 3 times, and he finds a way to make that play. That game lived up to everything we expected it to be going in.
No doubt.
Records didn't matter. Auburn is a team that they could have won 10 games this year. They have been in every single game, and it just seems like somehow, some way, it's what you like, if you just look at their record and say, man, they're 5-7. That is so not what their team could have been.
Right.
The opportunity
there's talent
they
there.
had to win games. And this will be another one in a long line of games that they were in at the end and had a chance. And it was just one play here or there changed their entire season. That game was good. The question now becomes, because we had this conversation, how much does Alabama get penalized in the event they lose to Georgia in the SEC championship game? Because the teams that'll be sitting at home, the Vandy's, the Texas, the Miami, those teams will have their eyes glued on the teams ahead of them that are playing.
Right.
If they lose, obviously hoping for Texas Tech to win, obviously hoping for Georgia to beat Alabama. No point. Big Ten is in. Both teams are in. So it gets very interesting for those teams. And what happens if Alabama happens to lose and get their third loss of the season? What do you do with them?
Right. And again, I think it's all going to be predicated upon what happens in Charlotte. We talked about Virginia. If you're a big fan of these teams, these other large picks, Miami, Alabama, all these teams that are going to be kind of on that bubble, you definitely want Virginia to beat Duke. You do not want Duke to win. That would take a spot away from the at-large spots. You want Texas Tech to win because you don't want BYU and Texas Tech to get in. That would take another spot away from the at-large picks. So, I think if chalk were to be out there and you'd have Virginia winning, which would secure a spot for them. If you had Texas Tech winning, which would secure a spot for them, you get the Group of 5 team, and then it opens up. The winner and loser of the Big Ten will be in. Notre Dame's going to be in that discussion. The SEC, it's a matter of how many will they end up getting. Like going back to your point about how they look at Alabama, or if Alabama gets blown out by Georgia, or if they lose and it's a third loss, what's going to happen?
If they get blown out,
then they're out. They're out.
No
but
question.
If they compete and lose, that's a third loss. There are a lot of people like Miami and Vandy and Utah. They're going to say that's a third loss. What's going on? Why does Alabama get this kind of treatment? So you're going to get that kind of noise. There's others that say Alabama already went to Athens and beat them. Now they're going to get penalized for playing a bonus game. Like that makes no sense. So
absolutely. And Alabama beat Vandy, so Vandy may not be the best, but Miami will absolutely be jumping on the table. If
you don't think Vanderbilt would, I think the game that got overlooked this weekend was Vandy blowing Tennessee out in Knoxville.
They absolutely did. The difference for Vandy though is that Alabama beat them head to head, so it's a tougher argument for Vandy than it is for Miami. I think Miami would be absolutely standing on the table screaming, if Alabama takes that third loss. But again, I'm with you. They go on to play in the SEC championship game. I mean, because if you're Texas A&M, if you're Ole Miss, you're sitting there like, man, we don't have that extra game. We don't have to deal with that extra game. How does the committee look at that if Bama should happen to take that third loss?
Let's look at the thing that's been on everybody's mind, which is Lane Kiffin leaving and going to LSU, and the timing of it and the calendar. We always hear folks talking about how this college football calendar is bad for the game, which I think all of us would probably agree that it puts all these coaches in really tough spot. We addressed this on game day about Lane, whether or not he should. It became pretty clear to me with all these other coaches re-upping. Eli Drinkwitz did that. Clark Lee did that. A lot of these guys use the threat of them maybe leaving as opportunities to stay and show that we're not going anywhere. That never happened with Lane, so it led us all to believe that he's probably going to head out. My point on Saturday on game day and continues to be, I don't know whatever the players wanted. This has been such a magical year for Ole Miss. I just hate to see this season be in jeopardy in any way by taking their head coach and their offensive coordinator and Charlie Weiss Jr. away. I would have loved to have seen Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin somehow agree to finish this year and then leave. But Ole Miss, their athletic director, Keith Carter, decided not to, which is totally his prerogative. It puts Ole Miss in a very, very tough spot because you lose your offensive-minded head coach. He took Charlie Weiss Jr. with him. I believe Joe Cox, who's also kind of like a passing game coordinator. I think, if I understand right, I think he went as well. So Pete Golding gets announced. So I'm a huge fan of Pete Golding. I think hopefully he'll do a great job. I think this team, more than likely, when you see stuff like this happen, there have been a lot of different examples where teams go through this. One that most vividly Pat McAfee was a part of when Rich Rod left to go to Michigan. Bill Stewart took over, and they were playing in a massive BCS bowl game against Oklahoma, big underdogs. And with Rich Rod leaving, everyone thought they'd get blown out. And you could ask Pat, that they showed up like Eye of the Tiger, us against the world, and blew Oklahoma out. So you have no idea what it could do. You hope the best for Ole Miss. You hope that they are able to rally. But boy, they are put in a tough spot when Lane Kiffin, Charlie Weiss Jr., and Joe Cox are all gone. If Lane had to go, which again, I understand Ole Miss saying that, I don't necessarily agree with it if the players want him to stay, but I understand it. And once he left, and if Charlie Weiss Jr. left, how do you put a game plan together? Like who I know Joe Judge is there, but you lose the normal routine, the normal film study, the normal, hey, let's put a plan together. I'm not saying that Ole Miss won't still show up fired up and ready to play, but man, I would just love to have seen them finish all together and then see it go of a different direction. I understand the stance by Ole Miss as AD. Hey, if you're not with us, you're against us. You're going to LSU. Go now. I get that. I just wish this Ole Miss team that right now is playing great football. You saw them in the Egg Bowl with all this noise. That's a tough place to play. They went in there and dominated the game. So wish them all the best. But that set off a crazy day yesterday. Florida hires Tulane's coach, John Sumrall, who, by the way, Joey, is staying to coach in the conference championship game. And if they win, he's staying to coach in the CFP. If they win, they're in the CFP. So he's going to put Florida and all that. And I don't think this is unprecedented. I saw people say, Kirk and the game day guys, they have Jimmy Sexton's ear and they're spewing. Well, I don't know Jimmy. I know Jimmy Sexton. He's not my agent. I'm not with CAA. I have no relationship in any way with Jimmy Sexton. I know Lane. I know every coach, and Lane would have loved to stay on and coach. I think he was sending that message out to a lot of people that I hope to have a chance to continue to coach these guys. But no agenda, no Jimmy Sexton, whatever. I have no idea what that would come from. It's just John Sumrall did what I think guys like you and I, hey, let's finish this. In 2025, a lot of guys are going to be going different ways anyway. Why we're together, let's finish this year together, and then we go our separate ways, which I'm not a big fan of guys just going separate ways after 1 year, but that's kind of the reality of the new world. But Sumrall will finish at Tulane. Alex Golish gets the job at Auburn, comes over from South Florida. Ryan Silverfield leaves Memphis. He's now the head coach at Arkansas. Lane is at LSU. Pete Golding, we mentioned, is the coach at Ole Miss, not just for this rest of the season, but permanently. UK fires Mark Stoops after 13 years. Michigan State, outside of the SEC, fired Jonathan Smith. Pat Fitzgerald, former Northwestern coach, who was cleared of any wrongdoing, and Northwestern paid him a big sum. He is back in college football, it looks like, and going to be coaching at Michigan State, which is exciting to see that. So, boy, but all of that, it just points all back to Lane Kiffin, how he did it, what is he doing, and I understand the passion. I totally get it, but and I think that the calendar and where these coaches are put in the middle, should I go here? Should I go there? That's tough to do. What did John Sumrall do differently that Lane Kiffin didn't do? I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but he's staying to coach his team. And again, Tulane to Florida is a jump up, different conference. Maybe Ole Miss to LSU, rival within the same conference. Hey, get out of here. You're not part of this. I understand that, but I feel bad for the 25 Ole Miss team. Best year probably in 122 years for Ole Miss. And they still going to get a chance to finish it, but just out of their regular routine with their head coach and offensive coordinator.
I said last week on this show that I believe that he should be given the opportunity to finish. I really think they should ask the players. Let's have a players meeting.
And if they say get him out of here, then
what do you guys want to do? What do you guys want to do? I was actually listening to your guy Stanford Steve, and he was saying, I'm sure the players would want him to stay, but you can't do that. And that to me is the idea that I think we all lose in this is what's best for these players. There's going to be some grown-ups in the room with their feelings that are hurt, to have certain feelings about this. And even with the calendar and how it's set up, I know that's an issue. But so often decisions aren't made based on what's best for these kids, this group of kids that we hold dear, as if this is about them. So if this is about the kids and what's best for them, then why do they not get a say? Why do they not get a say in what happens with their head coach? I said last week, in today's world is so different than when we played, because when we played, you were there for 4 years. Heck, we just had Julian Sayin on. He started at Alabama, then he came here. Half these kids nowadays with these rosters in college football, you have to flip half a roster every single year with kids leaving, kids coming, you're in the portal. Like these colleges now have a whole department just with their eyeball on the portal to see who they're getting out of the portal to be on their team for next season. So if we take the players and say, what is best for them? If I'm the Ole Miss administration, it has been a long, long time since we've won a national championship. And if this is my best chance to win one, I can put my feelings aside. I can put how I feel about this process, about Lane leaving, about how it was handled. I can put that aside if this is my best chance to win a national championship in this season. And then you mentioned the assistant coaches. They have to go, right? Like what would they do? Not go with Lane and then not be guaranteed to have a job anywhere? Like what would
right.
Whoever head coach is coming in, there's no guarantee that they'll have a job. So understand the assistants leaving with Lane. I wish Lane would have stayed. I wish that the players had a say in whether Lane stayed or not. So often players don't have a say. That's sort of how we got to the NIL, the portal, was like players just finally stepping up saying, you're using our name, image, and likeness, and we don't get anything out of that. We don't have a say in where we go to school. Coaches can leave. We can't. And now we're in this world. And we had Lane on early in the year, and Lane was like, you treat it like, it's a 1-year deal each time because you don't know who you have and who you don't have, and you treat it that way. And so in this case, I would have loved to see Lane. Now, he said he wanted to finish. I don't know if that's true. I wasn't in the room. He has said he wanted to stay and finish, and they decided no, he couldn't do that. I had the same argument with Matt Berry Saturday night, EJ Manuel Saturday night, because I'm with you. I think he should be allowed to stay because the players have an opportunity to accomplish something that hasn't been accomplished at Ole Miss in a long, long time. And that's been now, not saying they can't, but it's going to be more difficult.
Yeah. And I think we also can say, I understand. It's not like, how dare you not let it. It's more about, man, I hope they talked to Chambliss. I hope they talked to the players, and I'm sure they did. I don't know if they talked to the players. I don't know if the players said, no way, he can't stay. He needs to leave. I have no idea. I saw a few of them on social media last week saying, regardless of what he does, we want him to stay. I have no idea. I only maybe the people at Ole Miss, the players, the coaches behind the scenes. You and I agree. It sounds like it would have been great for the players for this 2025 Ole Miss team to have a chance to finish it as the collective that they started with. It'd be great if the calendar made it a lot easier for these kind of things to happen. But we can also say, the Matt Berries or the Stanford Steves or the people that say, or the AD from Ole Miss that says, no, if you're not here, you're either with us or against us, and go. I'm not saying I agree with that in the 2025 era of NIL and portal, but I can say I respect that. I understand it. I don't agree with it.
I understand it.
Yeah.
I don't agree.
I don't agree with it.
I think those are adult feelings that don't put the kids' best interests at heart in this team and what this team had a chance to accomplish.
For this year.
Yes.
And I think in 2005, like you said, before this, you can leave whenever we probably would have looked at it like through a very different lens, but this is so transactional and people are coming and going on some of these rosters, especially at a place like Ole Miss. Now Pete Golding will do everything in his power. He's a defensive coordinator, and I saw his speech to stand up in front of the team. He's going to do everything he can to rally this team. I don't question that. I'm sure the players are going to have a big chip on their shoulder because they're going to hear a lot of people say, boy, they're not going to have the chance. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, how do they, behind the scenes, when you're used to Lane Kiffin, Charlie Weiss, Joe Cox being a part of the film study, the game planning, not just a day of the game when you're calling it, but who's there to put that together? Joe Judge is, but who's there to help him? And is Charlie Weiss going to come back? I don't know that yet on a Monday on December 1st. Would maybe Ole Miss and Lane say, hey, can we have Charlie Weiss to, I don't know, maybe Ole Miss would allow that. Because I think I'm all for Ole Miss showing up in the CFP and all their ducks in a row. They got a game plan. They got Charlie Weiss there, Jr., to call the plays. I would feel like, okay, Lane's gone, but you know what? They still got Charlie Weiss here. He knows this offense better than anybody. Let him go do his thing. That would be awesome to me. But I don't know.
Great.
Play out.
It doesn't seem like that's going to happen. It
doesn't. Not right now. It doesn't.
It doesn't.
I'm holding out hope.
Yeah. You're holding out hope that this is going to be handled in a way that is best for these young men to have a chance to win at Ole Miss, doing what they did all season long, accomplishing things that they haven't accomplished there. I'm with you. I am rooting for the kids on the team. The rest of it, I don't care that much. I don't care that much about the adults in the room. I really care about the kids.
Yeah, I'm with you. I care about the kids. I care about the 2025 season, a magical, once in a lifetime season.
Absolutely.
And let's hope that the Rebels are able to still block out the noise the way they did against Mississippi State in a rivalry game, and continue to get after it. We only have a couple minutes left. The matchups coming up this weekend are interesting. A lot of people say they don't matter. If you and I played golf or ping pong, if you have a competitive spirit, everything matters. I'm excited to see these games. Do they matter the way they used to? You win, you're in, you lose, you're out. Do we miss that? Yes. Is that part of the reality of kind of our new world? Yes. And we have to kind of adjust with the times. I still, looking at that graphic right there, how can you not be fired up? I don't care if they get a box of chocolates for the winner and the loser gets nothing. I mean, look at that. Ohio State, Indiana, 1-2, Sayin against Mendoza, Ryan Day against Kurt Signetti. I mean, give me that. That is an awesome game. I can't wait to watch that one. I think a rematch with Alabama and Georgia. Again, it's a conference championship game. I could go to the American. I could go to the MAC. I love when there's a championship on the line. You can't take that away from me.
It's better when it's not a rematch. It's better, like the Big 12, Texas Tech, BYU, they played. Alabama, Georgia, they played. Everyone that is a college football fan has been waiting because the arguments, the Big Ten didn't play anybody. Ohio State, who'd you play? Indiana, you played Oregon, but who else did you play?
Yeah.
This is the one that we've all been waiting on to see, really the measurement of Indiana, really to see if Indiana and Kirk Cignetti.
Well, we think they've come miles from the.
We think they've come miles.
We'll see.
And now we get a chance to find out on the biggest stage.
Yeah.
That one's.
It's
really
in Indiana. It's in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Ohio State, their fans will travel anywhere.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
they could play this in Egypt. And the Ohio State fans will go.
Give Indiana an advantage because it's there at Lucas Oil and Indy. I'm like, I think Ohio State will not have a problem selling their allotment. I think it's 50-50.
Their allotment will be gone.
Yeah, it's probably already gone. You think it's 50-50 crowd-wise?
No doubt. I mean, there's not, when it comes to fans traveling, you don't have to worry about the Buckeye fans. If they could get a cruise going over to Indianapolis, they would.
Yeah,
like they would.
No doubt.
They'll be
no
there.
doubt. Any game from last weekend, a player. I'm going to give you one for maybe. There's a bunch, but I really thought that Arch Manning. I've not been part of the overhyping Arch Manning throughout the year at the beginning. I haven't been part of the pile on Arch Manning when he struggled. I haven't been really part of either part of the analysis on that. I've tried to go into it where let him establish his own brand, let him do his thing, let him earn his way. I've really enjoyed watching him have to go through some really precedented set of circumstances as far as he's going to be better than Peyton, going to be better than Eli. He's going to be the best one ever. And then Tech guy is trash. I mean, he's the worst player I've ever seen, that kind of noise. And the way he's battled through that, to me, has been really impressive. And the way Sark battled through that has been impressive and not easy to do in the middle of a campaign where you're trying to get to a CFP. So I thought if there was one thing that stood out to me, it was not just Texas's defense, but Arch Manning himself did a hell of a job this year. And I think he really grew. I think he'll benefit in the long run from this. I think he'll be back for college football next year. I think Ty Simpson will be back, by the way, in college football. Everyone's going to be telling them they're the first picks overall. What are they doing? I think both look at this through a very different type of, I guess, a lens of how you should make a decision like that. I think they both need reps. They both need to grow. But Arch Manning stood out to me, being able to finish.
I'm going to go with Tony Elliott in Virginia. And
good one.
Another team that needed to win to get in. As we watch this weekend play out, and we've had so much conversation about the ACC and where they've been, and then Virginia loses to Wake Forest, and then they have to go on the road at Duke, and then the big one against Virginia Tech this past weekend. The way they finished off those last two games, very impressed with what Tony Elliott has done with this team. And
incredible.
And again,
got to be the national coach of the year, don't you think?
Yeah, and the ACC is a rematch that we've seen already. Virginia Tech beat Duke a couple weeks ago. But the way they've handled their business, this wasn't like Alabama, Auburn, where it was like down to the wire. They came out. SMU needed to win against Cal, and SMU came out sort of sluggish to get behind. None of that with Virginia. Virginia went out, handled their business the past 2 weeks. To get to the ACC championship game. So I was impressed with Tony Elliott, what he's done with that team. Again, after the loss to Wake Forest, it was like, oh my gosh, don't tell me Virginia's now going to choke this away. And to handle their business the past 2 weeks, very impressed with Tony Elliott and the way that team played, and looking forward to seeing them play this weekend.
Amen.
In a rematch.
Amen. I love that one. Great one. Class act too, by the way, is classy a guy as there is probably in the profession. Joey, you doing the show? You have the show on Tuesday night? Is that right?
I hear we're getting a lot of snow up there, so hopefully
you get in and out okay.
Yeah, hopefully we can get in and out okay.
So the one last ranking show tomorrow, and then the final is going to be coming up on Sunday, right?
Are you in for that or what?
I think I am. I think I'll be on for a couple quick comments. But I like watching you guys on your show.
I think come on.
I mean, we're out of here. By the way, just want to thank all the folks that have been with us all year. We're going to continue to do this all the way through the national championship. If you're enjoying this stream, please leave a like and please subscribe. Joey and I do this every Monday. A lot of times we'll hop on like this Tuesday night after the ranking show that Joey's a part of, and continue to just try to make sense out of this. It's a lot of passion, a lot of emotion. I totally get it, respect it, and love it. And hopefully we have a great week, Joey. Hopefully we have awesome games for the conference championship. And we'll be back tomorrow night, and then obviously throughout the weekend as well. Everybody have a great week. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right. See you later.